All right. Good morning. So, just a brief introduction. My name is Kari Wendroth, and I most recently directed the youth production Junie B. Jones for Buffalo Community Theater. I also have directed a virtual cabaret for BCT, as well as the Stephen Sondheim show in 2018, Company, which is an adult show. Previous to that, I directed shows with Litchfield High School for 10 years on and off. But most recently, I've been on stage and I definitely go through the audition process at least once a year or try to. It can be super exciting and stressful. And I just am really committed to educating and helping people put their best foot forward for auditions and making sure that you can show your best version when you're there on audition day, because it can be stressful and but it can be so fun, and you want to sell yourself like it's a job interview, and you approach this with that. So that means you prepare, and that means that you the way that you show up in the room is taken into account. So I most recently wrapped Mamma Mia at the Paramount in St. Cloud. I was part of the ensemble as well as understudying two of the lead roles, and so went through an audition process through that, and then have been in BCT shows and theater forever. So there's going to be four components to our teaching today, our session, and I'll do each component about 12 minutes, I'm hoping, and then have a little bit of question time. And then at the end, we can wrap up with any questions that you have. So we're going to start with the vocal portion. So there's two ways of preparing your vocal selection for the musical production. There are production teams. So when I say production team, that's the director, choreographer, and music director that want you to sing something from the show. And so when they get something on the website, they'll say, these 6 songs if you're auditioning for these roles, kind of type thing, and you'll prepare a selection from those songs. You never will sing the whole song at an audition. In my experience, you usually sing a verse and a chorus. And they could cut you off early. And so you just are ready for that. And it doesn't mean you did bad, and it doesn't mean you did amazing that they don't want to hear anymore. It just means that for time, whatever they need to hear, they've heard in whatever you've sung. So a verse and a chorus is what you would prepare. If you're not sure what does everyone know what a verse and a chorus is? Maybe I'll just raise your hand or give me a thumbs up. Okay, a verse and a chorus. So usually a verse is like the telling of the story. It's establishing the story, and then the chorus is a part that gets repeated a couple times in the song. So a chorus is like oftentimes the title of the song could be in the chorus, and so oftentimes the way that music is done, it's like verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus. Then they put something called a bridge. And the bridge is something that kind of like, it's a different melodic tone, and it's building to that maximum final chorus. And so you could do a bridge and a chorus as well. And I would suggest that option if you're auditioning for a lead role and you want to show off your vocal power. And usually that bridge to that final chorus is that vocal power part. So in this show, for Mamma Mia, I'll just kind of address that since 4 of you are auditioning for that. They are asking you to prepare a verse and a chorus of a musical piece. And so your selections for that should be something from musical theater. Now we know that Mamma Mia is what's considered a jukebox theater production, which means it's the songs of ABBA that are put into a musical production. And so you're going to want to look for something in the style of the show that you're auditioning for. For instance, I hope I can add anecdotes as well. So kind of from experience. When I was auditioning for The Music Man in the summer of 2019, You have a choice, and I'll come back to that, but you can sing a song from the show, or if they want you to, but they wanted you to sing a musical piece. So I found a very classical vocal selection to show off my vocal range for the role that I was auditioning for. And if you ever need help picking out music, that's something I love doing. In fact, I get a little obsessive about it, to tell you the truth. But and sometimes it comes from like I was putting a playlist together 4 months before auditions that time, because I was like, okay, I could do this song, I could do this song, I can do this song, and then you're starting to listen to those songs, maybe sing them in the car, see what you think shows off that vocal talent, and then within 2 weeks, you want to select which song you're doing, and then you're working on that. I'll give you 2 places to get sheet music, because that is very important to various companies, that you bring the sheet music in and that you can sing along with the piano accompaniment. J.W. Pepper Sheet Music is a website, and that you can find songs. So like Someone to Watch Over Me. Okay, that's a tune that was written, and it's perfect for that kind of show, for Music Man. And I was, found the sheet music and ordered it, and then started practicing it. The second one is, I love this one because it offers a really cool thing. It's called Music Notes. So you'd find that on musicnotes.com. And one thing they offer is a piano accompaniment that you can practice with on an app. So for instance, I chose this song. I was able to practice with the piano accompaniment on my phone, and really work on that. So those are 2 websites that I use to find sheet music. One of the questions that was asked was, do I pick for a song from the show? If they're not asking you to do that, it is a choice. And I'm going to say this to you. If you are auditioning for a lead role and you know that you can kill that big song that lead character sings. Okay, so let's give an example. Rizzo in Grease. If you know that you can kill There Were Worse Things I Can Do, you make a choice and you audition with that. There are going to be directors who don't like that, and there are going to be directors who are like, yeah, okay, they got that role. So I'm just going to say that that's a choice. So, I auditioned for Mamma Mia in 2020 before the pandemic in St. Cloud. I went to see Mamma Mia at Chanhassen, was talking to the person that, Michelle Barber, who is the be all end all up there. And I'm like, hey, I'm auditioning for Donna. I'm kind of hemming and hawing. Should I sing Winner Takes It All? And she's like, you sing it. If you can sing it, you sing it and leave it all out there. And that was a professional telling me to go all in. So I did, but I didn't know how they felt, the production team felt about that. So I also did a show where I was directing, and I have had someone come in and sing the song, and it did turn me off. So that's from me in a director's standpoint. He sang the big be all end all song. He did well, super well, but it also showed me what he thought of the character, and that might not have agreed with what I thought of the character, if that makes sense. So that is just food for thought as you're going into an audition. If you're auditioning for Delbert, let's say you're auditioning for Mamma Mia and you wanted to go and sing Thanks for the Music. It's one of the songs one of the dads sings. So, that's a choice. It's not a song, it's a lovely song. So yeah. Picking a song for your range. So when we think about our voice, and of course this is a longer thing, but I think I can kind of talk. Your voice has usually 2 registers. You usually have this chest voice, the belt is what people call it, and then you have the higher head register. If you're auditioning for something like Marion in The Music Man, she sings primarily in that head register. And so you're going to want to show that, oh, I can sing in that head register and sound pretty. If you're auditioning for something like Mama Rose in Gypsy, she's belting. So you're going to want to make sure that you are belting in your audition. So when you're choosing a song, find out what register they're primarily showing off in the show, and likewise then choose a song like that for your audition. You're gonna do 3 things in your audition. Okay, so we're gonna come into this audition, like usually vocal is first. Okay, so you're gonna have to slate. And when you slate, that just means this. My name is Kari Wendroth, and today for you, I will sing whatever song. That's what you say. Okay, so good morning, hello. My name is Kari Wendroth, and today for you, I will sing Everything's Coming Up Roses. Then you can take a moment, put your head down, take a breath, and then you'll look over to the accompanist. So previous to you slating, you will walk over to the accompanist with your music, and you will say, I'm singing verse 1 and the chorus. I take a big breath right here, and you'll mark that in the music, okay? So this accompanist is skilled enough, if they've asked them to do it, to be able to play what's on the page, okay? So you might say, give me the starting pitch or play 1 measure before I come in. And they'll go, dun, 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 and you'll come in. So start 1 measure before I come in. I sing here. Oh, I take a big breath there. At the end, here's a little hint. If you're holding a note out and you don't know if you're going to have the air, you tell them to play faster, and they will. Okay, so you say, okay, I'm singing this verse, and then I'm doing this chorus, and then I'm going to hold this note out like really long, but could you play faster there? And you might even write in the music faster, right by the piano part, to give them a little cue. So then you go to right in the center, and you just say, you slate, my name is Kari Wendroth, today for you I will sing Everything's Coming Up Roses. You nod to them, and then they are supposed to follow you. So you just go and you sing your song. When you're done, you say thank you. You smile, 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 smile. You can nod your head, thank you. You don't bow at your audition. But yes, you just kind of go, thank you, and then you go back to your seat. There's 2 ways of vocal auditions. Sometimes you're alone in the room. With the production team, sorry, they're there, obviously. So you're alone in the room, you go in, you sing your song, you grab your music before you leave, and you leave, okay? The other audition, and this is what Mamma Mia auditions will be for BCT, because this is what they've done in the past, so likely it will be that all of the other auditionees are in the space. And that is key to building community. So that means we're clapping for each other. We are smiling when they're singing. We're not on our phone. We're not, talking to our neighbor. Of course, you have your music. You might be sitting and listening, but you might be looking down at your music like, okay, because you've got to get up there and go. So, and that community part, you're all in the same boat. So if you're thinking about, competition, which we do, but you really should take that and throw that away. Okay, like focus on giving good energy and positivity to the person on the stage, because then you will receive that when it is your turn. So this is the vocal portion. So I'm going to look at the questions that were asked. Choice of song, genre, length, accompaniment, a cappella. I would not say a cappella. They want to hear you sing with a piano to make sure you sing in tune and can match pitch. How do you choose a song to sing or perform? I think I asked that. Should it be from any musical? It's a lot of vocal things, but any musical in the style. So if I were auditioning for a Rodgers and Hammerstein show, if you're familiar with them, let's say I'm auditioning for Oklahoma, I might pick a song from Carousel or My Fair Lady. I think no, that's Learning Well. Another Cinderella. I might pick another similarly written show in the style. So Who has any questions about the vocal portion? No? Chrisanne.
I have a question. How about picking a song for auditioning for specifically for just an ensemble role?
Yeah. Okay. Great question. So you're not gonna be doing those huge, second act, big finale songs. So you might choose something classic, like from Cinderella, My Own Little Corner in My Only Chair, or Sound of Music, my favorite thing. So my aunt was auditioning in for the Music Man. She's never been in a musical theater show before, and so I gave her my favorite things. Girls in white dresses, and she just sang that, and she marked on her sheet ensemble role, and that worked well. So you could sing My Country 'Tis of Thee, I mean, if you're auditioning for an ensemble role. So just, yeah, anything classic that's not super hard. Does that answer it?
Yeah. The other question I have, and I don't even know the terminology for this,
Yeah.
but when you're singing, we saw this like at the Junie B. Jones auditions with the kids, how some of the kids just stood there, like totally still. Some of them got a smile, but then some of them actually were able to like move with the music. How some people I know will move like so much that it takes away from the vocals. But how much
Okay, so let me quick talk about body a little bit. Okay, so what I would suggest doing is when after you're done giving your music to the piano accompanist, you come back, feet are shoulder length apart, maybe one slightly in front of the other, because then that's going to help you bend your knees. Okay, so you slate. So if you have practiced a song that maybe has gestures, you just want to make sure that your gestures are going to be above your hips, and you're just going to, and you want to make your song somewhat conversational. Now, if you stay in one place, that's fine. You're not, but if you want to take a step over just casually, that's good too. There are people who choreograph their whole audition song, and they know right when they go here, and they might go like that, and that's fine too. So whatever you decide is what you should do, if you're auditioning for an ensemble role, I would say singing and making sure that your voice is projecting and that you are enunciating words. Diction is really huge. Just making sure that they can hear how pretty your voice is and how much you're going to add to the chorus. If you're auditioning for a lead role, you're definitely going to do more actions and more embellishments with your body to sell your audition. Does that answer it? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the dance portion. So traditionally, there's two things that are happening now in the audition world with dance. The way that previously and the way that Buffalo Community Theater has done it is they teach you the dance portion at the audition. So here is what it looks like. You come in, they say welcome, thank you so much. You do all the vocal auditions. They maybe give you a 5-minute break. Hopefully they give you a 5-minute break because you may need to change shoes. So that's another thing I can talk about. But you might want dance shoes. So bring them along, and you can have those character shoes, those high heels, or you can have a pair of dance flats too, or ballet slippers. So you may want to change shoes, and then get a drink of water. Okay, the vocal part's done. Maybe it went really well. Maybe you sucked it up. Who knows? Gone, right? So now you're gonna do the choreography portion. So you'll come up to the stage, and they'll start teaching you the steps. So there are some musical theater cornerstone dance moves that people use. And that's the kind I do because I'm not a trained dancer, So just, I'll show them to you, but you can look them up online. Of course, one is the grapevine. So that one is where you step over, step behind, step. It might be an 8 count, or it might be a 4 count. So a 4 count would just be step 2, 3, 4. step 2, 3, 4. So when you're learning that, pay attention to if the choreographer is having you step over first or step behind, because it could be either. So usually step 1 is plant, over or behind, step, and then sometimes there's a presentation foot. So like, go. Okay, so like if I were gonna sell a 4-step grapevine, it would look like this. You know, pay attention to where the arms are, and you know, your face is lit up. Another cornerstone musical theater is the box step. Box step is 1, cross over, 3, 4. So again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and they may have you reverse. So that would be a left, 2, 3, 4. That's a classic box step. Okay. You also, of course, step touch. And what you want to pay attention to in the step touch is what's leading you. Is it the hips? Is it the head? Is it the feet? Okay. So those are things you're going to watch your choreographer. Oh, it's a step touch. What part is leading? How many are there? You know, another classic is the 3-point turn. So I'll show you the 3-point turn. It is, so you go step front with your right. You're going to turn where your hips go. So I can't turn this way. So if I step forward with my right, I turn left. I go around. I step back with that right, and then I plant. So the left would be left, turn right, step behind, and back. Okay. The ball change, so it's like a step, and you just kind of back it. So usually I wouldn't say that in an audition like this, they have a pirouette, things like that. If they do, you look those things up online. In my Mamma Mia audition, there was a pirouette, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to, and so I was watching videos online. So, with the movement, you find words that will help anchor the movement. So if it was, it's a hard knock life. So maybe it's, you know, it's a hard knock life for us. So do you see how you kind of, and they might, you know, choreograph it to like hook the words. That's kind of what they're trying to do. So, and then there might be pieces, parts that are recycled or redone. So, oh yeah, we're doing this grapevine. And then in this third part phrase, we're doing the grapevine again. So that's how to chunk the movements. So you can be like, oh yeah. And you might even say, you might even in your brain give them little anchor phrases. So like, oh yeah, this is the grapevine. Okay, now we're gonna do the do-wah-wah. You know what I mean? So then you're like, okay, grapevine, grapevine. Oh, do-wah-wah. Oh, all right, there, yeah. And now we do this, whatever. I mean, I make up words all the time. I mean, even when I'm choreographing, I make up words and people are like, oh yeah, the swoosh swoosh. Yes, we gotta do that now. So a choreographer will oftentimes give you a hint previous to doing it. So like you might be doing the grapevine or like, get ready for the box step, and then you do the box step. Okay. So hopefully they're giving you those hints, but here's the thing. You get an instructional portion, you'll get a little practice portion, and then you get the judging perform portion. So that's where you're heading. And they're maybe going to be in front for the instructional. They might split their time on practice, and they won't be doing the movements. So you're going to want to do what you can in those sections to anchor it in your brain so you are ready for when that choreographer decides to stand or sit and essentially judge you. So, should the dance portion scare the crap out of you? No. Nope, don't let it. Because first of all, there's going to be people who are better dancers than you, and you can watch them too. Second of all, there's people who are going to dance worse than you. Like, there just is, you know, and chances are you're going to be somewhere in the middle, you know. Even if you are the worst dancer in that section, if you have a happy face and you're like doing your best, they will see you good. if that makes sense. Like they'll see you happily. Like you are trying, and auditioning is scary and it's so vulnerable. And so if you're selling it and you're doing your best, that's okay. That's great, you know? And if you're cheering for other people, that kind of energy they want in the room. So like someone could be the worst dancer and they're like, yeah, but you know, that person was really positive and happy. And I think they'd be a great asset to the show because they're watching for that as well. So any more questions about the dance portion? Oh, okay. So I covered actually the part where you're learning at the audition. What also is happening now with technology is choreographers are recording instructional videos and posting them. And that's how auditions were for me in Mamma Mia. And so we had those videos 3 weeks ahead of time, and we had to learn it and get it ready. And then you basically performed it 2 or 3 times during your audition time. So you're going to be practicing on your own. You're still going to be getting those little chunk things and stuff like that. So I'm liking that because I'm not a trained dancer, and so I get to like work it out and get it. The other thing here, this is something I experienced during Mamma Mia auditions and the show itself, which is so cool. Is anyone a trained dancer in this group? No. Okay. So we're all musical theater dancers. This is what we'll say. Okay. So they were talking about muscle memory. They kept talking about muscle memory. And I wasn't a sports kid. I mean, I was a theater kid. I did some sports. And I was like, I'm not sure what muscle memory is, but okay. So I would lay in my bed at night and I would be like thinking the dance steps. I wasn't moving my body. I was just like, oh yeah, this is that part, and then I do this, and I was singing the song in my brain because it was Waterloo, so I was like, you know, and I was like doing the movements in my brain of my body, okay? Then I would practice, and there was one time where I was practicing and my body started to go one way, and my mind's like, no, that's not right, and it stopped it. But my muscles were going the correct way. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, that was muscle memory. Like I didn't, like I experienced it and I was like, yeah, you know, and I think some of that comes from that repetition in my brain. But yeah, my muscles were going where they were supposed to be going. And truly and so if you are given those videos to practice and learn those choreography sections, learn it and get it in those muscles, and then you can be selling it at the audition. Okay, so those are the 2 ways that people are doing choreography auditions nowadays. So does anyone have any questions about the choreography? We're right on time. Yes, Delbert.
You said the pre-recording, was that in addition to or in place of?
In place of.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And so you're going to want to make sure that you check the website of the theater for what version they're doing. And if that means, you know, you don't see anything, hopefully, but you can always email and say, hey, I'm auditioning for Godspell in 3 weeks. I didn't notice anything about choreography. Are there going to be videos posted, or are we learning on site? So, and that's a perfectly fair question. That's not going to hurt your chances on the show. So,
I have a question.
Yep.
It's actually for vocal questions.
Yeah.
So I'm auditioning for a supporting role. I'm thinking of auditioning for one of Sophie's friends or something.
Yep.
What song would you recommend that I do?
Yeah. For some reason, my boyfriend's back just came in. My boyfriend's back and he's gonna be in trouble. But that's not a musical theater song. Okay. So, yeah, let me think on that. And then if you want to drop me an email, but I mean, so you want to find something that is, so Allie and Lisa are super sweet. They're supportive. We know in the show they sing Honey, Honey. And so, you know, it's like, okay, well, I want to sing something that's compared to that. And so, it'd be something upbeat, something quick, does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and if you want to drop me an email, I'm happy to field a couple ideas. Like, hey,
Okay.
I was thinking about this one, this one, and this one, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, maybe, yeah. It's
Okay.
seriously, it's one of my favorite things to do is make sure that people have like a song that will show off and be fun.
I know. And then last question. Since they're like, aren't they like energetic kind of?
Very,
Okay.
very.
So just like to make sure you're like acting energetic, singing energetic, just like body like
Yeah, so
energetic.
you'll be like happy and you might, like this and like,
Okay.
with your hands. So,
Okay.
yeah. And they're really girly. And so when you think about that, like find a song that's super, and that's maybe why My Boyfriend's Back came to mind because it's like it's so girly, but musical theater wise, right now I can't think of, well, maybe something from Legally Blonde or something from Mean Girls that's super teenager girl, like
Okay.
fun.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? Yeah, Audrey?
Can I ask about that too? A couple things while we're talking about characters. Do you think Mean Girls would also apply for Sophie?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think Kat is I think the main character in Mean Girls. I think she's got a couple songs. Sophie is she really ranges so far on the emotions. I mean, we have the fun and then we have the lusty song with Sky and then we have some sweet ballads and some angst and yeah.
So do you think the fun would be the best thing to showcase in the audition, or do you think it would be
that's going to be your choice?
Okay.
And what do you portray most solidly to the panel? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So in auditions, oftentimes what they're doing is they want to make sure, because musical theater, they need to be able to sing and you need to be able to move. And so oftentimes what they'll do is they'll have everybody sing and move, and then they'll call people back for the acting part. It's, when they call someone a triple threat, in musical theater, they've already been able to see if you can act when you're singing and you're dancing. But actually showing characterization and chemistry with another individual, they want to make sure that you can do that. But they don't want 65 people doing that. They only really want that pocket of potential lead characters. And so, that's why it's so important to show your acting skills while you're singing and while you're dancing, because you want the callback. You want the callback. You want one more chance to show off your stuff. And honestly, in the callback, you're probably going to sing again. 100 times probably or 98 out of 100, you're going to sing again. And you may dance again. So don't forget to keep practicing the dance between your audition window and the callback. So when you're thinking about preparing your acting audition, sometimes they put something called sides on the website. So a side is a scene from the show that they want. So for instance, if it was My Fair Lady, there would be a side that would be Eliza and is it Doolittle? What is his name? Not Dr. Henry Higgins, and Colonel Pickering. So it would probably, there's going to be a scene with them. There might be a scene of just Eliza and Higgins. There might be a scene with in My Fair Lady, there's the dad, and so there might be a scene with the dad and Eliza. In that show, they're going to want to make sure that you can show off the Cockney accent. So that's another thing to think about with the acting portion. Do they have an accent? How do they talk? And then the elegant speech, the English. So, they're going to want to make sure that whoever they're casting in that role or a similar role can play both those facets of the character. So let's say you're auditioning for 2 parts, because you don't know, prepare both those sides and be ready. And then they will say, you know, okay, Kari, come up and read for Donna. And so you'll go up and you'll read for Donna. And then there might be a portion of the day where you're like, they'll say, does anyone else need to do anything or something like that? And you might say, I'd really like to read for Mary Poppins, you know, like if Mary Poppins auditions. Maybe you've only been reading for Mrs. Banks and it's almost time to leave. And you're like, I will beat myself up if I don't also read for Mary Poppins before I leave this room. I have to do it. And so you raise your hand and you smile, but you also look a little apologetic and you're like, would it be all right if I read for Mary Poppins before we left today? You know, and they may say, sure. And they may say, I'm sorry for time. You smile. Okay. Yep. And then later you make peace with that. Because that doesn't mean you're being considered or not considered. You will not know until that cast list comes out how they see you in this show. Okay. So acting wise, you're going to want to think about, okay, here's the side. Okay, what's the emotional arc? Okay, how does it go? Am I happy with this character I'm reading with? Am I mad? Am I sad? Will I want to? So if it's an audition, there's something called a cross. So let's say this person you're talking to, you're going to want to open your body up at a pretty, you know, just a little turn. You're going to talk to them. You might be looking out here, talk to them. And then you may, for an emotional point, do what's called a cross. And so a cross means that you're just going to kind of walk in front of them to the other side, and hopefully, and I'll tell you what, you know, so you're going to be like this, and you're going to then maybe turn back to them. And if you're going to do that, you might even say to your scene partner, hey, I'm gonna cross left on this line. And what they'll do is called a counter cross. So I'm going to cross in front of my scene partner, and I'm going like this. And that person is here, and they're just going to take maybe one step and then turn to me. So you're both facing each other still. It's showing that you're working together. And remember that if you ask them to do something, you also should do something for them. It's give and take. If you're an audition and you're going to touch them, it's really big to talk about consent right now. And I mean, it's definitely, so for instance, you know, when you're auditioning for a scene with a man and you're like, hey, I really feel like I want to touch your shoulder here. Can I touch your shoulder? You know, you're not going to kiss an audition. You're not going to hug in an audition, but you may have to touch a shoulder. Like for instance, Sophie and Donna, when I was auditioning for Donna, it was the scene where Sophie's sleepwalking and Donna has to feel her head and see if she's feeling okay. And so each time I was going to read, I did say, hey, can I touch your forehead? Can I touch your arm? You know, and honestly, theater people are very kind and generous, and they're like, yeah. And if you're being called back for a role, you've been doing this before, so you know, like, oh yeah, we might have to like touch each other or something. So you want to look for the emotional arc. You want to show your face and your expressions. You want to make sure your gestures are going to be high enough to be seen. So one of the things that people do is they go like this. Well, I don't know what we're talking about. This is worse than this, in my opinion. If you're making a gesture in life, you go like this. Am I right? It's above the hips usually. So you're just like, hey, what, you know, like that. But like this you can do, like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. But if all your gestures are down here, that's boring. So make them up here, you know. You might even add a head scratch, you know, like this is something we do in real life. Am I right? We rub our nose. We play with our hair a little. You can do those things in an audition and make it look natural, that they're like, oh, she just acted there, you know? Does that make sense what I'm saying? So yeah, so you know, those are the things that you want to add into that acting portion to show your range. And I mean, don't make it distracting. Don't rub your nose like 14 times during your reading because they might think you have a problem, you know. But like if it's just, you know, or if you're supposed to cry, I mean, there might be like that. So yeah, so you're just gonna add little pieces to bring that naturalness of the character out. So if you're auditioning for an ensemble role, chances are you're not going to be doing a reading. They're probably not going to call you back for a reading, but that means that you have one chance during the audition window through the singing and the acting to show, oh, I can sell an ensemble singing, dancing thing. So, so what I would do when you get your sides and you get into the space and it's time for the acting portion is they might say pair up. And so if I were auditioning for My Fair Lady, I might say to the guy sitting next to me, hey, Chad, do you want to read together? And Chad's like, yeah, okay. Let's read Act 1, Scene 6. Okay, so you both get that side. And then you kind of like can sit there and just be like, you may not have time for this, but you know, like, okay, I'm going to do a cross on this line. Okay, I'm going to do a counter cross. Okay, is there anything you need? You know what? Let's march toward each other and stare at each other and then pull away on this line, you know? So you can just quick talk about that. And you can even make some notes with pencil in your little side sheet. And then now my nose is itching like crazy. But yeah, so you might, you know, talk about that. And then if there's a scene that Chad wants to do, like, okay, Chad, if we were to do another scene, is there one that you want? Oh, I want to do Act 2, Scene 7. Okay, all right, let's look at that. What do you need? So that can be part of that part is pairing up kind of before the acting portion. And so you don't slate usually before the acting portion. You slate just typically before you sing. And then you go up and go into the space and then make sure that you're smiling and you're listening. So here's what will happen sometimes during the reading portion. So you just finished the scene with Chad, okay? And the director says, okay, I want to see it again, but this time, Eliza, can you be less angry and more annoyed? Okay, so what that director is trying to do is see if you take direction and if you have the ability to change your performance to fit what they want. And this is key, you know, and hopefully this is something, but so you gotta take that direction and go, okay, less mad, more annoyed. Okay, what are some characteristics of annoyed? Eye rolling, mocking, you know, things like that. So you're gonna kind of think emotionally, what are some ways that I show annoyed versus angry? And then you just take a moment and you go, okay, Chad, are you ready? And Chad also has to do the same thing because probably chances are they're like, okay, Chad, less annoyed, more angry, you know, or something like that. And so she's giving you or he's giving you direction that they want to see both of you put into that next reading. And so you're like, okay, you ready? All right. So that's what you need to try to do is show that direction. And if you're reading multiple times, maybe there's one Eliza to 3 Chads. Okay, let's say, or three Dr. Or Henry Higgins. So what you want to do each time you're reading is change it a little bit to show your abilities with various characters or various auditionees, if that makes sense. So, all right, we're right on time. We've just finished the acting portion. Are there any questions about acting? Nope. Okay, so let's talk about audition etiquette and what to wear and how to kind of come into the space and what to do. So everybody, it's important to say everybody is in the same boat. Like you're all super nervous, and some people in that room have hopes and dreams that are more than just this show. You know, there are, as Audrey said before you came on, bucket list roles that people may have. And they're walking into that space and they're just like, okay, this is the role that I've wanted to play since I was a junior in high school, you know? And all my hopes and dreams are in this day. Okay, that's a whole nother mental health piece that we all have to journey, and I have journeyed it. My friends, I have journeyed it. So if you ever need to talk about that, you call me because I will talk to you about it. But the point is, you know, and that whole saying, everyone's fighting a battle that no one knows anything about. Like, we're all coming into this space. And so be kind and be generous with your positivity and be encouraging and be friendly. I mean, there's people that are going to be shaking in their boots. And so if you're able to smile at them and give a compliment, you know, maybe they have a really great shirt on, or they have cool shoes, or you know their child or their grandmother or their mom, you know what I mean? Like, make a connection, because leading with kindness in life, and I'm like, you know, this is me, but it will always get you further than anything else, leading with kindness. And so come into the space, be generous. Hey, what are you singing? What are you singing? You know, oh, I love that song. Ooh, that's a hard one. You know, things like that. Oh, I can't wait to hear you sing it. You know, things like that. So that's how we enter the space to start with, and we clap for each other. If somebody forgets their words, if you forget your words, you just keep trucking. You know, here's a case in point. I was once in an audition, and it was one of those big final notes that you had to sing really strong, and her voice cracked, and she was like devastated, right? Like, because it like cracked and she couldn't do it. So what she made a choice, and she's like, can I please sing that last phrase again? And then they were like, yep. And so she just sang it right away. She didn't even wait for the piano accompanist. She just sang it. And so she sang it. And when she was done, because she nailed it the second time, we just all clapped for her, you know, because you don't want to leave the space having not shown your best. And if there's time and they allow you that generosity to do it again, then do that. So, you know, if somebody forgets their words, like, it's okay. It's okay. Just give them loving, kind eyes. Like, it's okay. You know? So, you know, another thing in the dance, like when you're up there, you know, like, oh, you know, if there's somebody, if they're giving you time to practice and somebody close to you has a certain step, hey, how do you do that again? You know, like, it's okay to collaborate a little bit, or a little chunk of you in the back corner go, hey, let's do it together. 5, 6, 7, 8, and you just do it together, you know? Or, oh, okay, yeah, that's how that goes. Oh, thank you for showing me that, you know, that kind of thing. So audition etiquette is just make sure it's collaborative. You're building the community in community theater. I mean, obviously in professional, it's the same kind of thing, but yeah, you're building community from the moment you walk in that space. On your audition sheets, sometimes it says, I will not accept any role. Sometimes they say, I will only accept such and such role. That's a choice as well. Just like singing a song from the show and nailing it or whatever. It's a choice to say, I am only accepting Mama Rose in Gypsy. I don't want an ensemble role. I don't want, you know, this such and such role. You can do that. So when I auditioned for a show once, I did not want a certain role. Like, I just knew that they were going to consider me for that role. I mean, you kind of get to feel like I'd done that role, you know, like and by that role, maybe not that role specifically, but I've done that type of role. And so I purposefully didn't put a check there. And then I actually wrote, you know, I do not want to be considered for the role of. And they will respect that. They may come to you and say, hey, on your sheet, you put that you didn't want to be considered for. And if that you have that choice, like, I don't, I'm sorry, you know, because they may see you just like, you know, like they're going to cast me as such and such. They're going to see that too. Like, and so you have to decide, because doing these shows, we are volunteers and we are giving a lot of our time. And some of us have families and some of us have jobs and we go to school and we have responsibilities. And to commit to 7 weeks in a role that may or may not give you joy, you got to make a choice there. And also, like, if you only want role, it's okay to say that. And I've actually asked the musical director, Mike Walsh, for this particular show, you know, I said, hey, what do you think about that? And he said something like, you know what, they're volunteers and they're giving their time. And if they only want to be considered for role, whatever, like, I totally get that. I get that. I won't hold them against that. So hold that against them. So, so they're filling out your sheet, you know, put your conflicts in, always be honest. Be honest. And if you have a ton of conflicts, you know, you may have to put a little paragraph. Like, I had a ton of conflicts for the last show I was involved in, and I had to do a little bit of advocating for myself. Like, hey, I know I have a lot of conflicts, but I really will work hard to prove my worth or whatever. But when you give your conflicts, there shouldn't be changes. And so, like, if you know that you work every Tuesday and you're not going to make rehearsal on Tuesdays, you should do that. But if you are trying out for a lead role and you're willing to quit your job on Tuesdays so you can be there, then don't mark it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm more thinking about maybe like Audrey, because you maybe have a night job or something where the rest of us maybe have day jobs, kind of thing. So, so I'm going to bring up just a couple documents here to make sure I covered what I was trying to cover. Be prepared, get excited, be confident, be open to learning more, take care of yourself. That's a good one. Okay. Don't compare yourself. Focus your mind on the present moment rather than what the results will be. That's really good. Be optimistic. Auditioning is a skill you can improve. Learn good from bad. Auditions, callbacks, announcing the cast. Okay, I'm going to come back to you. So you will often get casting calls where they'll call you and offer you a role, and you can accept or decline. And if you need to take a moment to think about it, because maybe it's not a character that you were thinking you were going to play, then you just say, hey, can I take 20 minutes and call you back? You know, that kind of thing. This happens usually before the cast list. Nowadays, they're doing casting calls before they put the list out to make sure that everyone's accepted their roles previous to putting it out publicly. So that's something you want to be thinking about is, yep. And then you have a read through, which everyone gets together. You read through the script for the first time. You have rehearsals, and then you go from technical rehearsals to dress rehearsals, performance, and strike. And strike is where you take everything away, you put everything away, and everyone should be part of strike. Yeah, sometimes it's hard when the casting goes a way that you haven't anticipated it to go, but you have to trust the directors and their vision for the show, and that can be really hard. And so it's okay to take some time for that if you need to. Volunteering with the organization. Yeah. Okay, one more thing with the acting is staying in character. So if you're reading for Eliza Doolittle and something happens, I don't even know, like somebody gets a phone call, you know, while you're auditioning, you just want to like stay in character, like be like, why, you know, whatever. So, because you're showing them your skills to create a character during that audition and that callback. Okay, so let me look one more time at the questions we had. So, choice of song, sing, choose, audition piece, reminder, familiar, tips and tricks, how other theater handles auditions. Yeah, so I mean, I have a lot of experience with the way Buffalo Community Theater is doing it because I've been involved with this organization since 2016 or 17. Both from an acting standpoint and a directing standpoint and choreography. So I can speak to that, but you know, I just had that experience at the other theater, and so I was able to kind of bring something new into the audition process. from them that's different. So Audrey, what kind of questions did you have? Anything that you wanted to follow up for? We're just nearing our ending.
I was just going to ask what your email was so I can email you about my song choices.
Of course, I'd love that. K Wendroth, Wendroth at bctmn.org.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Yep. Delbert, did you have any questions? No? Okay. Chrissy-Ann? No. And Miranda? No? Okay. Great. Well, I wish you all really good luck. And if you ever have any questions about auditions in the future, feel free to reach out through our page. Also, we're just going to send you a brief survey in the next couple of days about this audition workshop. So, this is something we're offering new this time. We do it for our youth, but we've never done it for adults. And so it'd be super helpful to find out if it's something that people want. We should do maybe once a year. I can't not say, yes, Mamma Mia auditions are coming up, but I am not part of the team. So what they do in that space is completely up to them. So these are just general audition tips and tricks that will help you. But that space is whatever production team is, they're setting the parameters and the rules. And so you'll just want to make sure you keep that in mind. So, and also, there may be no box step in the dance next weekend. And that doesn't mean that they're wrong or I'm wrong. We don't know what their dance is going to be. So you'll just learn it that day and sell it the best you can. So, and just remember it's fun and you're a volunteer. So it's supposed to be fun and enjoyable and give you passion and excitement. So great. Well, let me know if you have any other questions through email. Otherwise, best of luck. And it was wonderful. Thank you for coming in. Bye.
Thank you, Kari. Appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kari.
Thanks.